Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm so excited for you to listen to this one. This is a good one today. So, in this episode, expect to learn from one of the best recruiters in the field, Sergeant First Class Henry. Greg has played a pivotal role in connecting with communities, schools, and students on a personal level, helping transform lives through military service. Today, we'll dive deep into the strategies that set Greg apart from other recruiters. We'll discuss how he integrates himself into local communities, builds trust, and creates lasting legacies by caring for the individual. Expect to hear powerful stories like how he helps students overcome personal challenges to succeed and how he's shaping the next generation of military leaders. If you're thinking about joining the military or know someone who is, you won't want to miss this episode. And remember to check out gaminaltutors.com for the best ASVAB prep courses to help you on your journey. Let's dominate the ASVAB together. Welcome to the ASVAB Domination Podcast, where we help you crush the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery, also known as the ASVAB, in order to achieve your dreams of serving in the United States Armed Forces. I'm your host, Mickey Gaminal, and I'm excited to share my years of experience and expertise in ASVAB preparation with you. In each episode, we'll dive deep into test material, strategies for success, and insights from military veterans and experts. Whether you're a high school student considering military service or a seasoned professional seeking to advance your career, this podcast is your ultimate guide to mastering the ASVAB and achieving your goals. Let's dominate the ASVAB together. Welcome back to the ASVAB Domination Podcast. Today, I am super pumped. I am speaking with one of the originals, helped me get started, introduced me to some students way back in the day. Sergeant First Class Greg Henry had started his at one point was living his recruiting journey in Las Vegas, now is recruiting out of Florida. And Sergeant Henry, it's a privilege to have you on. Thank you so much for being here.
And thanks for having me. You know what I mean? It's been a while.
It's been a long stretch. So, Sergeant Henry, one of the things that we were talking about before we got started here, you always have a finger on the pulse of the community. I noticed there's a big difference between a lot of old school recruiters and new school recruiters. They like to send out their text messages, they'll send out social media, that sort of thing. You're someone who goes and actually meets people. So, how is it that you always integrate yourself into the community so not just quickly but so well, right? Like people like in Vegas, you were talking about people who I hadn't even heard of. You were talking about Chef Jeff and a few other like community leaders that I didn't even know existed, and you like knew all of these guys on a first name basis. How is it that you start making those connections?
But I think, one of the things I try to do whenever I go to a city and then meet people, like it's all about trying to find out who you can help in the sense of who I can take something from. So whatever city I've gone to or I've been to, my first thing is, getting with the school, right? The school system, going to the school and find out what do they need from me as an individual. And then when I get in there, I always try to sit with the principal and find out, okay, how can the Army help you, right? Because the Army is a entity where I always tell people the Army is $1 trillion a year company, right? So if I have all that money behind me and I go into your school, how can I help you and your students become successful or give them another opportunity? So when I go in and I go at it from that angle, they always put me in touch with other people because it's going to take me about 2 weeks showing up to the school, not saying, hey, let me talk to your kids. Hey, you want me to shred those paper over there? Hey, can I talk? You want to bring you some lunch? You want me to bring you breakfast? Whatever it is, sit down and talk to them. How many kids you have? Talk about my family. All the kind of things that we have learned growing up is like it's a people thing, right? If if I trust you, then I am going to literally give or do whatever it takes to help you because you're here to help our kids. So once I do that, then it's one of those things where there's a firefighter that went and talked to my first sergeant. My first sergeant know that I'm all about community. So he came to me and said, hey, this guy reached out to me and he's doing something in the community called Breakthrough. And I know you're all about the community, so I'd like for you to go, meet with them. So I met with Nino, naming Nino with the fire department in Las Vegas. And he said, we started talking for a little bit and said, you know what? I got this guy, Chef Jeff. I think you guys will get along great. I said, okay. So I met Chef Jeff. And to see what Chef Jeff is doing with the kids, it's basically, his stories. He went to jail, came out of jail, learned how to cook in jail. And now what he does is these kids, instead of them going to juvenile, they'll go into his program. He teaches them how to cook, right? And then his program has grown so much. He has a truck now. It's like a mobile truck that they drive around and sell on Saturdays. They call it the Dirty Bird. So I it once I met with Chef and all that, it's just, it's one thing to get dropped off in the city and say, hey, go figure it out. So I think what's missing with the newer recruiters is the personable, right? I'm gonna see you face to face. I'm gonna talk to you, and I'm gonna tell you, hey, I'm gonna put your son or daughter inside the army, but they're always gonna be able to get a hold of me, and I'm gonna tell them my story to help them get along, right? I'll give you a story that I met a girl at college. She was going to Seminole. She was a senior going to senior day, and we talked for a little bit. We're at a truck waiting to get food, and we started talking. She didn't say too much, but she was like, I don't really want to go to college because my mom is pushing me to go to college, but I don't want to go. And I said, well, what do you want to do? She said, I want to be a journalist, but mom is pushing me to go to college, and I really don't want to. I said, well, you give me a chance to talk to your mom. She said, and you're not going to convince her. I think it's going to work. I said, well, give me a shot. Let me see what I can do. So we talked. The mom came in. I mean, she was kind of upset, like, oh, this army stuff, all this. I mean, she was kind of upset about it. But after about 2 hours, right, she actually gave me her nephew to put in the army.
Wow.
And now her daughter is actually in the army. She's a journalist. I actually put her in as a journalist, and she wrote a book already. You know what I mean? So the community is very important, but I think the recruiter is more important because we're placed in an area, give a car, a government phone, and say, hey, I just want you to be a part of the community. That's all they ask. So that's what I take. I take that very seriously, and I just go into the community and just become a part of it.
Yeah. No, and that's something that you excel at. So it's a privilege to watch you work and to see like all the different people who come in and out of your doors. Even when you were in North Las Vegas, you knew them all. Like it was awesome. It was awesome to see. I want to go back to like wait, like kind of because you're coming up on retirement at this point. You have how close are you? How much time you got left until you're done?
Less than a year.
Less than a year.
It's 9, 10 months, I'm roughly there.
Wow. Okay.
But I mean, I have that long, but I really don't retire until January of 2026.
Okay.
So it has a program that this DoD wide is they come up with this thing called a Skill Bridge program.
Mm-hmm.
So Skill Bridge is basically the last 6 months you can actually get in to an organization that will take you and say, hey, look, I'm gonna take you on, but the army will still pay you, and you can work for free.
Right. What
If we don't, see you later.
don't you need like a to get a certification? You have to be developing some sort of a skill during that time, don't you?
Yeah.
Ah,
Literally, like if McDonald's is a part of the Skill Bridge program, I can work for McDonald's for 6 months for free. So
wow.
as long as that business is a part of the Skill Bridge program, like if you go on the internet and Google Skill Bridge program, you can
Nice.
actually. So you log into it and it says opportunities and all that kind of stuff. So you can see all the business in your area that is a part of the SkillBridge program, and you can literally put in. So I put in my retirement, but I put in to be a part of the SkillBridge program, which I'm going to be doing it with the sheriff's office, Seminole County Sheriff's Office. So I'll be pretty much doing the same thing that I'm doing recruiting for the Army. I'll be recruiting for the sheriff's office.
Well, either way, you've put in a lot of time with the military. That's for sure, right? How many years?
Ah, God, man, uh, 7,
7? 20,
27.
27 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Outstanding. So tell me, I mean, I know like I did Peace Corps when I was a youth, right? Way back in the day, I was in Morocco for 2 years. I come back from Morocco, people say, "Oh, what was Morocco like?" It's 2 years of your life, right? You're not going to be able to say it was good or it was bad, you know. But I'm going to ask you the same question that they asked me. 27 years, what's your opinion of your military experience? What's your thoughts on your service?
I owe everything to the Army. 27 years ago, a recruiter saw me in a Winn-Dixie grocery store, not too far from here where I'm at right now. And he said, is this what you saw yourself? I just came from the gym. He said, is this what you saw yourself doing? Because he asked me a couple questions. Where do I work? I said, I work in construction. And he said, is that what you saw yourself doing when you graduated high school? I thought about it for a second, and I said, no. He said, what did you see yourself doing? I said, I wanted to be a cop, but I really didn't want to be a cop. It was more than one of those things. I'm like, leave me alone because, I don't, I ain't trying to join the Army or anything like that is what I was thinking. But he said, if I show you how to be a police officer in less than a year, would you do it? I said, man, I'm not even a citizen. He said, I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to show you how to do it. Right. And I had a son already. I had another one on the way. And I said, you know what? Fine. Let's do it. Let's try it. So less than a year later, I joined the National Guard in the beginning, went to basic AIT, came back, got sworn into for my citizenship at basic training.
Mhm.
So when I came back, I loved the Army so much. I wish I would have went active duty. But first they said first the contact, first the contract. So that's the third, right? So after I think about a year and a half, I made E4. I made the rank of E4. I made it fast. And my commander was a deputy sheriff down here. Said, "Hey, I think you need to get out the National Guard. You need to go into the Army Reserve. You're going to have a better shot of getting the next rank because if you stay in the National Guard, you're going to have to go infantry to make E5." I said, "Nah, I ain't doing that." So once I got into, he put me in a drill sergeant unit, and everything went off from there. The Army, if you think about it, like my son right now is a captain in the Army Reserve, and he's a deputy sheriff in Orlando down here. My other kids went in. My wife retired. So when I look at the service that the Army has done to me, the least I can do right now is give back. You know what I mean? My service, I always ask people like, when I say, oh, you want to join the Army? Like, man, I ain't joining the Army. Why should I? I said, with all the stuff going on right now, why would I join the Army? I said, when would be a perfect time to join any branch of service? And it stumps them, because I'm like, what do you think the service is? Whether I'm a cop on the streets or I'm an Army doing all kinds of different jobs, what is it? When is the perfect time to go? Because if we don't protect, right, then how do we stay safe? So my family, we decide, hey, after I put you in for 4 years, whatever you do after that is on you. Because the Army has been so good, right? Because I don't have a college degree. I don't know what that is, right? For me, you know what I'm saying? Because I always tell people, I say, man, school's not for me. You put behind the desk, I'm screwed. But somebody coming from Jamaica, broke, welfare, youngest out of 5 boys, no father around, single parent, barely made it out of high school. When you look at where I'm at today, it's all because of the Army. I can't say it to anybody else, right? My personality, how I am, was all formed from being inside the Army. So I owe the Army every dog. So it's one of those things. When I put these kids in the Army, I have a kid that works in the White House, and he called me. He said the perfect thing. He said before he got the job at the White House, he called me and said, "Hey, Sergeant Henry, they're offering me a job at the White House." And I said, "Why are you asking me if you want to do it?" He said, "I don't know. I just want to think what you were saying. What did you say about it?" I said, "Man, you want to snatch that thing as fast as you can, right?" And I said, what happened to the guy that I used to chase around Canyon Springs and tell him to pull his pants up? You gonna cut your hair? And, I ain't doing all that. He said, man, Sergeant Henry, I can let that guy go because he's exposed to a lot now. And the exposure that the Army is exposed to him, he's like, I'm not getting out of this. So I just think that the journey that I've been on, anybody I get where I'm at today, I'm gonna tell them the Army. And retirement doesn't stop me from saying, "Hey, you want to join the Army?" It doesn't stop
Right.
that. I'd stay in if I could.
I mean, it's great. That's great. It's treated you right, and you've done right by it. I mean, I have no doubt about that. I'm sure I would imagine of all the recruiters, you know, you're crushing it all over the place. If they're bouncing you, because you were a station commander out in Las Vegas. And so if they
Correct.
brought you over to Florida, and then while in Florida, you've done this, informed about the uniform, like you're creating entire structures that haven't existed before. And these structures ultimately serve the military. I mean, they may serve other branches or whatever as well, but at the end of the day, you're creating value, you're creating entire things that haven't existed before. And the Army's a better place with you in it. You know, that's I think that's clear.
But I think if you think, what are we here for, right? If we all sit down and say, what are we here to do? We're all here for something, right? And once you figure out what it is you're here to do, and for me, recruiting was like, even when I became a drill sergeant, and my sergeant major say, hey, look, man, training these soldiers is a very rewarding thing, because you get kids off the street and then 9 weeks later they're totally different. So when I started doing that, I started realizing what my purpose was. Right, when I became a police officer, I started a lot of programs, whether it's turkey giveaways for Thanksgiving, Christmas, things like that, where I just wanted to serve people. So I'll tell you, when my sergeant major asked me if I wanted to be a recruiter, I said, heck no. I'm like, no, I'm not to be no recruiter, because drill sergeants and recruiters don't get along. I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. But he said to me, you'll be good at it. And when he said I would be good at it, I started thinking like, yeah, you know what, I probably would be. So when I got into it, I started looking at it as everywhere I go, I need to do something of for legacy, right? And it's all about, like, when I leave somewhere, everybody should know who I am, not because of how good I am, but because of something that I've started. You know what I mean? And the
Hmm.
relationship I built. So I think if we all think about that, like even what you're doing, like we talked about before you started this, like, there's kids that is right now all over the place that remember going through your program. You know what I mean? So you're making a difference, and you might not know it, but you are, because those kids will always remember. Man, I used to stand on Nellis at the Army recruiting office. I used during COVID, we sat inside it with donuts. But those are all that you just don't forget.
Yeah.
So I think I'm just on that mindset of, I'm not here forever, right? So how many people can I affect while I'm here?
Has it always been like that? When did you get this like legacy focused? Or was there a time where it changed?
I think once I got into I think once I got into recruiting, but everything, I think the legacy thought was, as I was a drill sergeant, and there was this girl, her name was Pointer, and my sergeant major came to me. I guess she got kicked out of a couple companies, and they're getting ready to kick her out the Army. And then my sergeant major came and said, hey, Sergeant, I need you to train this soldier. If you can't train her, then we're gonna put her out. I said, no worries, Sergeant Major. I'll do it, because I've been there for a little bit, and he knows my style about how I care about these soldiers. So when Pointer came in, she was a fighter. She didn't listen to nothing. But I was determined to help her graduate. Right. So there was, I had to be hard on her throughout basic training, of course. So I remember graduation came, and she was about to graduate. And when she came in family day, she came into my office, and she was crying. Right. And I'm like, Pointer, what is it? You're done. You graduated. And what is it next? You know what I mean? She was like, she said, Drill Sergeant, I think, I want to thank you, because everybody else gave up. You're the only one that never gave up on me. And here I am about to graduate. I don't have any family coming. So her battle buddy, I told her battle buddy, hey, just, kind of take her with you. After she left, what it dawned on me was, I didn't know who she was. I didn't know where she came from. I had no idea. So what I did from then on was, every cycle I got from then on, the first thing I did was, I had every single one of them write a letter telling me where you're from, who you are, all those things. Just whatever you want to write on there for me to know, let me know. And then I would sit in my office and read every single one of them, which showed me, I mean, you're talking about people from all walks of life. Everybody got some kind of issues and all those kinds of things, which made me a better person and a better drill sergeant because now I can deal with you different, right? If somebody was abused, I'm not going to yell at you, right? Because that's going to trigger certain things. So there was just a lot of things when I started thinking about that. And then Pointer, I think she emailed me maybe a year later or something, and how, that one, me not giving up on her, is affecting. So she'll never forget that. So then it started dawning on me, like everything I do with these soldiers, they'll never forget. So I'm in their legacy now. I drill sergeant, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it all started. And then everything I did from then on was I'm always thinking about the big picture.
Okay. No, I think it's amazing. It's an amazing story. And when I went to OCS, I heard something very similar. Like I had a battle buddy there. His parents had passed away or something like that. And he was like, and I'm like, oh, must have been rough growing up. He's like, no, my life was the good life. Like if you look at
Right.
the majority of soldiers in the military, like there's a lot. People come from all sorts of backgrounds. Like a lot of people come from really, really hard stuff. So I think it's hard to remember that in a environment, right? What'd you call it? You said the Army is a company with three trillion dollars or something.
Look at it. You know what I
Right.
mean?
You think about that kind of an industry, you forget, where these people come from, for sure.
100%. I think that's what I think we forget, but it's easy in this environment where it's nobody wants to talk to each other. Like COVID stopped people from saying hi, talking to people, and things like that. You know what I mean? So I think it's important to get back to that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, and
Because
that's what
the informed about the uniform, like you said, was it was an idea in Vegas,
I didn't
right?
know that.
It started in Vegas when I went to that thing with the fire Nino, a firefighter, and he did this thing called Breakthrough, and he was bringing like kids in and people coming in doing different things. So it started thinking about, man, I can do something like. So I did one informed about the uniform at a recreation center in North Las Vegas, and then I talked to the sheriff here, and the sheriff loved it. So I started organizing this informed about the uniform before I even came to Orlando.
Wow. And so that's the cool thing is building legacy. Your focus has been helping others and making sure that they get the most success and have the most leverage and can make their best choices and all that sort of stuff. But it followed you. That's the crazy thing is that this ended up ultimately helping an entirely different community, yeah, on the other side of the country, really.
But it's put me in a lot of things because or places because the same thing I told you about the first sergeant saying, "Hey, Sergeant Henry, I need you to go because you're in the community." The same thing happened here, right? My commander was like, "Hey, I got something going on, some meeting at some place I need you to go to," but they know I'm in the community, so that opens up a lot of the doors to me meeting people in the Magic organization. I got this thing in the Citrus Club. I'm actually going golfing with some guys tomorrow. Just people inside the community that wants to do stuff, right? That just brings me in, and I'm sitting around with people that I'm like, wow, what am I doing here? How did I get here? You know what I mean? You got to
Yeah.
pinch yourself, but I don't use that. I'm always thinking I'm meeting someone not for myself, but for who they can help out.
Mhm. Yeah, you're on purpose. You're not on self, you're on purpose. You're there with whatever reason you need to be there.
That's that. I mean, that's the goal. That's why I said everyone should sit down and ask themselves that question: What am I here to do? You know what I mean? Because whatever you're good at takes no effort, right? Recruiting takes no effort. It's not even like, I mean, I love doing it. You know what I mean? It's a lot of time my wife would tell me, "Hey, you got to turn that off a little bit." I'm like, I don't know how. It's so long, but I think sometimes I just need to realize because it's a mission, right? My wife had told me, gave me a dog tag when I was deployed, and it said mission first, soldier always. So every time I do something, I'm on a mission, right? It makes no sense to do anything halfway. You know what I mean? It's either you're
Mhm.
going to do it, make it happen, or you're not. So if I'm going to organize something, I'm going to do something. I'm gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna make sure it happens regardless. So when I look at the informed body uniform and where it's at today, man, I would never imagine like the superintendent. I'm gonna tell you how crazy this is. The Seminole County School Board has come up with a different slogan. It's what's your E now? What's your employment enlistment and your
Mm.
education? You know what I mean? That's not even anybody would even think about doing like enlistment. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Nobody keep them army people out of here. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
now the school board literally have E pathway. What's your E? And
Yeah.
a part of that is enlistment and education and employment. I mean, it's crazy. So
Yeah.
now when we go into these schools and these flyers are in the schools now, right? I mean, there's a poster with me in the background as far as the E pathway. You know, it's just crazy things that kind of like, people text me like, "Hey, that's you on that poster." Yeah, that's me. You know, it's it's just crazy, but I never was out to do that, right? My out to do was I'm in Sanford. How many kids can I put in the army to better themselves out of this school? I have a kid right now that's in Howard University, and she's on the Minuteman Scholarship.
Wow.
I have three kids at FAMU, right? Minuteman Scholarship. And then I run a Bethune Cookman Minuteman Scholarship. Getting another one now that wants to go to UCF, right? And it's all on the Minuteman Scholarship. So the CASA, which is kind of like the guy that has all these 4-year scholarship and 3-year scholarships, I'm pretty good friends with him. So if I need a scholarship, I just call him and say, "Hey, I got one for you," right? So it's just knowing, it's really just knowing how you can help people and how many people you help me with, right? Because girl you're helping me with now, or the guidance counselor at Seminole reached out to me and introduced me to her, and she's not even in my AO. She's in Volusia County, which is like up in Daytona. So I mean, it's a blessing, man. I can't complain.
Well, I mean, I tell every student that you send my way, I tell them they have the best recruiter because you actually care about these kids. Most recruiters, and it's not even that most recruiters don't care. It's just that they care enough, just to get to the next day. Though they're not gonna get a call about a White House job 5 years down the line. Like that's not gonna happen for 90% of recruiters.
Um, now, I mean, it's man. The thing I think if we're recruiting, and I tell the recruiters in the office now because I'm on a training thing right now. My goal is to get every single one of those recruiters doing the things that I was doing, right? Because they're like, "Well, we can't replace you, son." And I said, "I get it, but if I can get this recruiter over here and introduce him to this guidance counselor and let him know, hey, you got to go into the school every day, or you got to talk to this person or whatever it is, then that's what I'm supposed to do now, right? So my shift to create more of me, right? And not because a lot of times we kind of get consumed like, oh, look at me, look where I'm doing, look what I'm doing. It's just never me. You know what I mean? Like I think more of it's just when a parent call me and crying and saying, "Oh, sorry, honey, I want to thank you, my son or my daughter or whatever it is." I mean, I put my own nephew in my, you know, my nephew's mom will call me because my brother, I got four brothers, but she'll call me. And he's 35 years old in the army now with 2 kids. And she's like, "Man, I just want to thank you." I'm like, they're my nephew. So everybody gets treated the same way. There's no difference.
Hmm.
I mean, so I think, where my shift is now, it would be to create more of myself in caring for these kids. Because that's what they are, right?
Right.
And replacing these kids, but letting them know, right? Because you get the recruiter that would say, "Yeah, you can go into the army. That's a great job. This is this and this and this," and then they get in, you don't even talk to them again,
Hmm.
right? So what I tend to do is try to tell the kids it's follow up. Like I got kids that call me every Sunday at about 4:30, right? But that's their phone in basic training. They're like, "Sorry, hey, I just talked to my mom. I gotta call you." Like I'm like, so that's a testament. Because then there, some Sundays they're up, some Sundays they're down. But I gotta be there to say the down days, like, hey, you remember where you're coming from, right? Hey, come on, man. You know, you're getting paid. Let's go. Keep it going.
Hmm.
So that's important.
Oh yeah.
You
That's
know, that
huge. That's
yeah,
huge. Even on the employment side, I think everybody who has any success in even holding a job, that if you're gonna work one job for even a full year, you gotta be able to stick with it. So you gotta be comfortable with
exactly.
that.
But a lot of them get so comfortable. Like I'm telling you, one of the craziest things I always get phone calls. Like every week, I'm getting a phone call from somebody. I just got a text like yesterday. All right, this kid is on a mission for like a week. You know, and they're like, well, everybody's not treating me right. They don't. I'm not a good part of the team. And I'm like, stop. Right, you're there for 1 week. You just met these people.
Hmm.
Focus on your job. Right, do your job. Then go home. All you want them to say is you did your job.
Yep.
Did your job. You did a good job. That's all you need. Stop looking for all that other, you know,
Hmm.
popularity contests and all that stuff. Don't. And she's like, yeah, you're right. I said, that's all I want you to do. So, but those are just the phone calls I get. So I got to remind them of, hey, you're there for this reason. Look, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you're going to be 37, 38 years old, retiring, not the army. You don't look for that, those
Hmm.
things. You get people like, yeah, I'm going to get out, going to the reserve or the National Guard. I'm like, you're going to come back here, and what are you going to do? What
Right.
job are you going to get? You know, so it's getting past that initial first contract. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And it's important for recruiters to keep those relationships so they do understand. Yeah, I'll stay in. You're right.
Yep. No, I mean you forget about it. From 18 to 22, right? If you go in and get a contract right out of high school, you spend those 3 years doing army stuff, which is cool, but everybody's bored. Everybody 18 to 21 wishes their life was
Yeah.
better. Like 100% of all teenagers shifting into their 20s think that everybody's doing better. And so they think, oh, I'm gonna get out of the military. I'm gonna go back with my buddies back to Vegas. And we're gonna, be club promoters. Now we can work as bartenders. We're gonna make all this money, this, that, and the other. It's
Uh,
so nearsighted. It's never looking at that long term vision. That's
but I
great.
think that's where I think recruiters can make a difference because it's not just, hey, they shipped out already. I got the credit form, right? Now I need to stay in contact. Because I always tell them my personal number. I say you can call me anytime because I want them to reach out to me because they'll come back, hey Sean Henry, I'm in town. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I mean, I put people at homeless. You know, I put in kids that like homeless. You know what I mean? Now they're doing good, and they're like, man, if it wasn't for you, I said, no, you're doing it. I'm just the tool,
Right.
right? Just that tool that was able to help you get a head start. So what you do with the head start is on you.
Hell yeah. No, that's great. That's great. Well, cool. Is there anything that you want to share from your experience or as far as recruiting goes?
I think recruiting has made me a better person because I get Las Vegas was awesome because I got to meet so many kids that was DACA, right? They were their parents were undocumented, but they were born in the US, right? And then putting them in where they were able to get their parents, to get citizenship or get something, that was a big thing for me because I'm from Jamaica. So I didn't have, the citizenship or anything like that. I didn't know, coming to the United States, we always thought like, man, I just want to land up money from come here and work 2, 3 jobs and sky's the limit, right?
Hmm.
So I think one of the things that I've learned, throughout my time in going all these different places is everybody's looking for the same thing, right? But success is different for everyone, right? Success could be, hey, I just want a nice apartment and pay for it. Success, hey, I just want to have a car, I just want to have groceries, whatever, because I've seen all walks of life, right? But I always tell people the one thing I would tell anyone that success is doing what you like to do and getting paid to do. And that's what I've gotten. I mean, I've chased so many things over the years, but I've been fortunate. Once I got in the army, I've been doing exactly what I like to do every day since. You know what I mean? Whether it was a police officer or whatever it is, I get up at 4:30 every morning. I'm in the gym by 5 o'clock every morning, right? And I tell people if I hated what I do, I wouldn't be doing it. You know what I mean? I'm always, always, always grateful for the leaderships that I've come across. And everywhere I've gone, they've let me do what I want to do. They just say, "Hey, here go your car, here go your phone. See you later." Right?
Yep, go get
That's
them.
perfect. That's like the perfect job. You know
Yep,
what I mean? You control what you do.
yep.
So success is not, don't chase the money, chase happiness, chase doing something that makes a difference. You know what I mean? And that's the biggest thing I can tell anyone out here because man, I don't think I still got a lot of work to do. You know what I mean? There's still a bunch of cats out there that I'm supposed to come across. You know what I mean? So every day I'm looking for them. Every single day I'm looking for them. So I'm grateful for friends like yourself that I can reach out and say, hey, I have this girl, I have this guy, they're getting a 16 or they're getting a 20. I just need them to bump up a score to get 31 to get in. And you're always send them. You know what I mean? I
Oh,
appreciate
no, I love it. I love helping those guys. I love doing the ASVAB stuff because I do believe, just like we were talking about with Pointer, right? These people who will not succeed, right? And
it.
then finally find that success, they're infinitely better than everybody who was expecting to succeed, everybody who was expecting to get in. Those people who are grateful for what they got, they are trying to learn. I love teaching. That's why I do ASVAB. I should be teaching in a high school, but those guys don't want to, have you ever, you've seen high schools?
I'm there all day, bro.
Yep.
I think I was in front of all the guidance counselors in Seminole County last week, Monday and Tuesday. And I just wanted to tell them thank you, right? Because we paid for breakfast for them. And I just told them, I said, y'all are making a difference, right? But a lot of them always think that these kids got to go to college, go to college. So I told all of them, I said, think outside the box.
Hmm.
A lot of these kids are not going to make it in college, right?
Hmm.
School get a credit or whatever it is. I just want you to think different. And they're all like, I mean, after I left there, I started getting called. I got this kid. I got this kid. I got this.
Oh
You know?
yeah.
So I mean, I think a lot of it. That's where I think what you do matters, and that's I'm still gonna try and link you with the. I mean, I sent you Sean's number,
Hmm.
but I'll see Sean again on Tuesday. But I just think we need more businesses, that will help.
Yeah,
You know what I mean, and think outside the box. You know,
absolutely. No, I mean that you're a pro at it. You're a pro at it. That's why you can build these informed about the uniforms. You can take that breakout or breakthrough from Vegas and you can run it to Florida. Somebody who doesn't think outside the box can't move those sorts of things.
no,
So,
I and I love when I say I love success stories, right? I mean, I
mhm.
have kids that that wouldn't graduate high school. I had a kid just shipped out maybe 3 weeks ago. Right? So the guy for last year was like, "Hey, Sergeant Henry, I got a kid. Got some issues going on at home with dad's abusive, some stuff like that." And I said, "Okay, no worries. I'll talk to him." So I talked to the kid. He's like, "Yeah, I ain't gonna graduate." Actually, I met him I was doing a classroom presentation. Is how I
Okay.
met him. Then he talked to the guidance counselor and was talking about the army. I was like, what? So that's when I met him, and he told me what was going on. And he didn't turn 18 till the summer, but his dad wouldn't sign the paperwork anyway. But he said he wasn't going to graduate. Didn't have any money to pay for graduation. I talked to his mom and stuff. So I said, look, man, I'm gonna give you a shot, right? Let's do this. I put him on the ASVAB. He got a 40 something on the ASVAB test. And I said, dude, I promise you, if you graduate, I'll get you out of here, right? He actually graduated. I paid for his cap and gown, right, for him to walk across the stage, but he didn't want to walk across the stage. But I paid for cap and shipped out of here 3 weeks ago. I brought him back to the school, right, to the guidance counselor, and I mean, the dude was crying. You know what I mean? But those are like the stories are like, man, he would have never graduated. Where would he be right now if I didn't run into him?
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's very serious when somebody reaches out to me and say, hey, I want to find out more about the army. I want to join the army, right? I'll do everything possible to get them in there.
Oh yeah. That's awesome. Where can people find you if they're trying to look you up? Where's the best place?
And well, my Insta face, I call it, but it's Instagram, right? My IG is US Army underscore Henry. I'm on there. They can find me through there. And understand, it doesn't matter where in the country they're at. They can always reach out to me because I can always. The Army has made it to where you can put people in from anywhere, or I can talk to anybody anywhere and build a relationship and get them in and talk to them about what they should do, how they should do it, or whatever it is. Because man, my recruiter, I still talk to him today. You know what I mean? So it's all about the recruiter that matters. You know, I'll do anything I can to help anyone at any time. But my IG is the best place to get me. You shoot me anything from there. You can see what I post on there and stuff. I ain't post too much, but you know, I try to get when I put somebody in there. I haven't posted in a while, but if you really want to get me there, I think I'm gonna post some stuff on the Informed About the Uniform on Tuesday is the first one. And then I'm gonna start putting some stuff out that I'm doing here in Orlando and just blasting it. I got something going on with the Magic organization to try to get them. That's another project I got going. Once that pops out, we're good there. So
Oh, yeah.
it's great.
Awesome. Well, Sergeant Henry, thank you so much. For everybody listening, if you want to get in contact with Sergeant Henry, he is US Army underscore Henry.
Yep.
Look him up. And again, one of the best recruiters in the country that I've ever come across. So I appreciate everything you do. Thank you for all the students you've sent. I'm happy that I get to be a part of helping them get into the military and changing lives with you. So thank you for bringing me along for that.
No, thank you, man. We're gonna get your curriculum into the schools next. That's where we're going.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan. All right. Thank you so much.
All right.
Remember to be kind to yourself and treat yourself as a learner. Are you considering a career in the military but feeling overwhelmed by the ASVAB exam? Look no further than GaminalTutors.com for the best ASVAB prep courses. Our courses are designed by experienced instructors to help you master the best sections of the ASVAB exam, including mathematics, English, and general science. We use proven teaching methods and provide extensive practice materials to ensure that you are fully prepared on test day. With GaminalTutors.com, you'll have access to comprehensive study guides, personalized tutoring sessions, and online practice exams. Our courses are available on demand, so you can learn at your own pace and on your own schedule. Don't let the ASVAB exam hold you back from achieving your career goals. Sign up for GaminalTutors.com ASVAB prep courses today and take the first step towards a successful military career.